Okay, hello and welcome to me babbling books. And fingers crossed, there is some audio to this because I've recorded the Madame Blavatsky episode twice, and there's no audio either time, which is a bit frustrating because I had the wording the way I wanted it. I didn't have to edit it. It would have been perfect to go up live or upload. But anyhow, here we are. It didn't work. I know they say the third time's the charm, but I don't have the patience. I've done it twice and it sounded good. So I'm going to have to hope it still works out. And the stinker of it is there's no transcript, I'm guessing, because there was no audio. So I'll have to wait and see how it goes. So instead, I decided to hop on live and just update you with what's been going on. So with my reading, whoops, I got to turn it this way. Panther's happy. I finally moved the books off his coffee table. Still have a couple of UFO books to finish there. And I've been reading my way through. I started The World of Weather, which has some interesting tips, and I'm just a little bit into that. I still need to get to The Seat of the Soul for the reread. That's waiting from 2023. During Horror Mayhem, I'd been reading Haunted Canada, the second Terrifying collection, and there were a number of good ghost stories there that I'll be talking about in the future. What else do I have going on? Oh, we'll leave those. I did finish The Mockingjay, so I'll be doing a video about the Hunger Games, the Divergent series, and I also finished The Golden Compass and the Amber Spyglass. It's interesting how those three series connect. So I can now say I have finished reading The Hunger Games. Another book that I had read, and it was in one of my last book haul videos, Harry Potter, Narnia, and The Lord of the Rings. Now, initially when I picked this up, it wasn't quite what I expected. It says what you need to know about fantasy books and movies. Fantasy can help children see with spiritual eyes, says Richard Abanes, best-selling author of Harry Potter and the Bible. It confirms the reality of good and evil. But is every fantasy story appropriate for everyone? In this even-handed exploration of the books of J.K. Rowling, C.S. Lewis, and J.R.R. Tolkien, as well as the films based on their writings, Abanes, a fantasy fan himself, answers key questions. What I did like is that he really does present an not for or against view. I appreciated that he's not against banning books or book burnings or anything like that. I learned some interesting things about Lewis and Tolkien. I didn't realize before that not only were they from the same time period, but they were also friends. And it's a very interesting read. And quite frankly, I think before some people put out book banning things, they really should read this because he presents a very balanced, realistic viewpoint. I'm so glad I picked it up. The one book, and I'm halfway through the banned book 24 and 2024 challenge. So I'm now done 12. Mockingjay was 12. I picked up 50 Shades of Grey because it's one of the banned books. I've never read it. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I know the movies are out there. And I don't know, I'm debating whether I'm going to read this or not. I picked it up at my thrift store for $1, so that part wasn't bad. I'll have to decide. Let me know, and I hope that there's volume. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read it. Is it worth the read, or should I just find something else? As I say, I was involved in Horror Mayhem this year. I've got Carmilla sitting somewhere else. I had finished that reread and enjoyed it. I mentioned the ghost stories. I had planned to read The Amulet again by Michael McDowell, but I didn't get to that. There were a number of things I didn't get to, and I was going to start my Edgar Allan Poe Complete Tales and Poems. So although I didn't actually read them from here, there it is. Bucket really makes things handy. Ooh. I did read 2 of his stories from the horror short stories. So I'd read The Pit and the Pendulum, which was an enjoyable read, and I think I may have read that before. It definitely keeps you going until the end, gives you a sense of what it must have been like for this individual. So it's definitely a good horror story. Now, Bernice, I read, and it's funny, I can't tell you what it was about. So it definitely, okay, we have the author, they were cousins. Have to read it again. I'm not, didn't stand out, so I'll have to read that one again. Now, The Haunter of the Dark is by H.P. Lovecraft, and I did finish that one. And it was funny because partway through that, I thought, this sounds really familiar. And then I grabbed my H.P. Lovecraft compendium, and sure enough, The Haunter in the Dark is in here. So I had read that not long ago. And same with Dagon. So in the compendium, and yes, I'm one of those people who writes in her books. That's how I know I've read books. They either have dog ears or notes in them. So the compendium includes Dagon, The Call of Cthulhu, The Dunwich Horror, which is why I bought this book, because I remembered reading that years ago, The Whisperer in Darkness, and The Haunter of the Dark. I really enjoyed this. It's the only Lovecraft that I've read, other than the Dunwich Horror years ago. But I very much enjoyed that. So it was a great revisit through Horror Mayhem. So those I had gotten to. Now, starting in June, so for June, July, and August is Book Trek 2024. And you can learn more about that at Revenant Reads, Vin, the creator of the event. So I'm all set for June. I've had this Star Trek magazine probably for about a year. Does it? Oh, February 2023. So I've had it waiting for a little bit. So June will be the perfect month to kick off the Star Trek event. And then in my book hauls, I had picked up Probe, one of the original Star Treks, and Mosaic from Voyager. So I have something to read each month for Book Trek. Then I am also reading The Dead Zone with Revenant Reads. It's a buddy read. And I definitely got big into it last night, so I'm almost finished. And part of the reason is it's a book that keeps you going and you want to find out what's going to happen. But I also ended up borrowing it from my public library, so I only have a certain amount of time to finish reading it. So I will have to make sure I get this done, and I've been keeping my notes so that Vin and I can discuss the different parts of the books and things that come up. And I finally brought up my Dune box set because I've been wanting to reread this for a long time. I read Dune back when I was in, I think, high school, maybe early college. I had no idea there was more than one book to the series. So when I found the box set, I picked up this small set, and I'm looking forward to revisiting that. I'm hoping that I've sent someone an email about doing a buddy read from this, so I'm just waiting for a response, or I may end up reading it on my own. I'll have to wait and see. And yes, I've done some rearranging, so if you notice, I'm sitting much lower than I used to. And what I'll be doing, because my chair is now way down here, I have my bucket of books, which has become so handy as I'm getting into some reading events, but also trying to organize my own reading to do notes and things. Anyway, that was just a quick update on kind of what's happening, what I'm reading, what I'm looking at finishing. And hopefully I can figure out what the volume problem was with the Blavatsky episode. I may have to try doing something different because, like I say, the microphone seemed to be working and then suddenly there was nothing. So fingers crossed I can get that figured out, and I'll have that uploaded tomorrow. And on Friday, I still have to decide. I may end up doing a kitty video, or I may end up doing a poem that I have recorded, and it's good for a chuckle. And I think that's pretty much it for today. I'm not sure when I'm going to be doing scheduled live streams again. Today was just kind of a hop on, see how it goes. I may be trying Tuesday evenings, I'm not sure. But in any case, until next time, take good care.